Syracuse in their home orange and blue, Pitt in their away white. Just about ready to go. And we are underway. Syracuse, who started the season ranked 25th. Pitt was unranked. Boy, the tables have turned since then. But if there's one more twist in the tail to end the regular season tonight, it could be very interesting, especially with results going on elsewhere. It's a Panthers team with championship expectations. Syracuse back to being the underdog once again. Nicholas Whaley with you here on ACC Network Extra alongside Sam Reese. Sam, this is a game I think we're both really looking forward to this week. What should we expect from both teams tonight?
Well, I think Pitt, the nature of how good they've been all season, they're going to try to get on the front foot right away and almost try to be so attack-minded, I think, Nick, to the point where they want to make Syracuse chase in the early stages. So the Orange have to be careful because Syracuse obviously coming off allowing 6 goals. They don't want that to happen again, but you also kind of have to get a win tonight if you want your NCAA tournament chances to stay alive. So you still got to be a little more attack-minded at the same time. So it's all about handling that balance if you're Coach McIntyre in the squad.
The Pitt Panthers practically guaranteed into that NCAA tournament. At the moment, share the regular season crown. They clinched it with a win against UVA last time out, 4-1 on that occasion. They do need at least a draw to make it their own. And on the front foot in the early going. Ready with control. Top of the area, Syracuse in the low block, trying to stop him. And really good defending by Christian Fortier to win it back, and Syracuse counter quickly. Daniel Burko couldn't control.
And it's little things like that where you come away with a nice steal if you're Syracuse, but if you're Burko, you gotta have a better touch there in the midfield to potentially spark a counterattack, because those are likely the best chances you're gonna get if you're Syracuse at the other end.
It's a Pitt team that has dominated possession. On many occasions have had over 65% of possession in more than 3 games this season in the ACC. They play some really fluid soccer and have really impressed. Have slowly built into one of the best teams in the country, and surely a contender for the national championship in just about a month's time. Syracuse, they're not out of it yet. They do need to pick up a few results, particularly tonight and in the first round of the ACC tournament. And it's not a guarantee of who they'll play yet either. Obviously, depending on results elsewhere, every ACC team is playing tonight, except for UVA, who played yesterday. One goes out of play. It will be a Pitt throw.
Now, this is not an official coining, but I'm calling it ACC Decision Day, just like you have in the Premier League.
Absolutely.
Not all the matches simultaneous, but just about. We've got almost every match that's being played tonight happening right now, with the exception of Stanford-Cal, the West Coast game, which will be kicking off at 10 p.m. Eastern time. But exciting stuff all around.
It's a physical battle already in midfield. That one's launched forward. Albert Thornton will beautifully control. Dawson shot away. And nicely collected by Thomas Hutt, his first action of the evening.
It's got to be difficult for Hutt as well, coming off allowing those 6 goals at Clemson. Of course, not all his fault by any means, but looking for a bounce-back performance. So to get that first save under your belt, yeah, it wasn't a tough one to make, but I have a feeling it's going to be tested quite a bit.
Threadgold forced to stretch his legs. Got options in the center. Threadgold. Lovely control. Fortier. Nathan Scott. Can he find an opening? Goes down. The referee waves away the appeals. And Pitt can quickly turn the other way. Vetosa. Albert Thorson loses his footing, goes down. It's not the first time we've seen players slip already tonight. A little bit of a slick day here in central New York. We're coming off of 2 days of unbelievable weather, it has to be said, at this time of year. 80 degrees plus. And that's completely changed. We're in the low 50s tonight. Possibly will drop into the 40s as the night goes on. That means that turf will be that little bit more slick. Famba Fortier controls it back to Jafamba. He nearly lost his footing again, but was able to stay on his feet. Rosenblatt. Now it's crossed into the area towards the back post. It drops nearly to thread goal. Fortier! What a start for Syracuse! Christian Fortier scored a wonder goal against Charlotte earlier in the year. He's now done it against number 3 Pittsburgh. What a start for the Orange.
We highlighted him off the top because of the fact that he hasn't been a regular starter this season. Only the 3rd time he's been inserted into the starting 11 by Coach McIntyre, but the freshman lives for these moments, Nick. One-time finish, and he couldn't have drew it up better. Just a beautiful strike, and let's be real, Cabral Carter didn't stand a chance.
What a moment. A Syracuse team coming off its worst loss in the tenure of head coach Ian McIntyre. And it's the freshman, Christian Fortier, who scores his 2nd huge goal of the season. And what about it, with power to add. What a moment for the Canada native. And my, does that change things across the ACC landscape.
Here we go, game on. We've already seen a bunch of goals over in the Clemson-Virginia Tech game, which started an hour before this. And honestly, with the way this match started, Nick, I'm not surprised we saw a goal this early, because this has been open from the start. Pitt looking to attack, Syracuse not afraid to thread those through balls forward. And if it stays as open as it has in the opening 5 minutes, I have a feeling more goals are going to be on the way, Nick.
That's the nature of the ACC, the best conference in the country, bar none. Every single game, like Coach McIntyre said, is like a tournament game. It's that sort of level, week in, week out. It's so difficult for all 15 teams to prepare every single week when you know it's at that highest level every single time. Cutler de Jesus battles and loses out this time to Luis Samkow, who goes down. We'll see what Pitt are made of. They've lost 3 times this season, all by a scoreline of 1-0. Last time was against High Point. It was in back-to-back losses between High Point and Cal. Let's see what this team, which has national championship aspirations, is truly made of. Daniel Burko for Syracuse down the left-hand side. Got Braden Smith running with him. Couldn't find him in the end. Decent defending by Pitt this time. And Syracuse will control things and try and settle things down of what has been a hectic opening 7 minutes.
And that's perfectly fine if you're Syracuse. Now that you have the lead, Pitt's, you mentioned it, a team that loves to control the game, a very technical team that loves to possess the ball in longer spells. So if you can take the ball out of the feet of Pitt, all of a sudden you're making them chase, and that's a good sign for the Orange.
Syracuse, it's not that they don't have nothing to play for. They need to win to secure the 11th seed in the ACC tournament. With Virginia Tech beating Clemson at the moment, it would mean they would drop to at least 12th.
And not only securing the 11th seed in the ACC tournament, Nick, but likely keeping those slim NCAA tournament aspirations alive. You can pull off this upset and beat the number 3 team in the country, and then you don't want to look too far ahead, but win an ACC tournament match. I think the Orange could be right back in the conversation all of a sudden, and it goes back to your point of how competitive this conference is.
And in terms of RPI, it would be immense for Syracuse, because Pitt is ranked #1 in RPI as it stands. They're most likely going to be the #1 seed in the NCAA tournament, barring any other results in the ACC tournament as well. There's still a lot of soccer to play. It may be the regular season finale, but because there are 15 teams, all 15 teams, I should say, playing the ACC tournament. There's a 64 teams in the NCAA tournament. We have a lot of soccer still to come. Here is Samkow. Pitt really struggling to break down Syracuse in the early going. We're able to get inside the penalty area, and Albert Thorson had 1 shot at goal. It went straight at Thomas Hutt on that occasion. Another mistake from Pitt. Can Syracuse break quickly again? Daniel Burko plays it over the top. Can Smith get there before Carter? Yes, he does. Great sweeper keeper from Cabral Carter on that occasion.
Yeah, that's experience there from Carter now in his second year as the #1 for Pitt. Just knowing to commit early, because you always take a risk going that far out of your box, but he read that ball nicely to come to the rescue for the Panthers.
That's that recruitment that has been so efficient of this Pitt team. Cabral Carter coming in as a junior. Jackson Gilman, captain, #2 for Pitt, also coming in as a junior, and it's a squad that is rotating with elite talent year in, year out. And that's all the work of Jay Vidovich and his coaching staff. Jay Vidovich, his 9th season at the helm of this Pitt program. And he's been there and done it in the ACC. He spent 20 seasons as the head coach of Wake Forest. Now in his 43rd year as a coach, 33rd as a head coach. Of course, won that national championship in 2007 with Wake Forest. What would he like to add a second national championship to his resume, but for the Panthers this time? Majona gets caught on it this time. Nathan Scott. He nearly loses out to Sullivan. Jafamba, or nearly played Threadgold in behind, and Svenby is fouled.
I do like the fact, though, that when Syracuse gets possession, it's immediately head up. And more times than not, when they win the ball in the midfield, they're looking to either switch the point of attack or play those through balls and really test that high back line of Pitt, and forcing Carter, like we saw moments ago, to sometimes play that sweeper-keeper position and make those split-second decisions.
And Syracuse don't have many strikers available. Braden Smith's being forced to play in that front two alongside Daniel Burko because Michael Aqua is suspended. And Nicholas Kalukian, who has led the line for much of the season for Syracuse, has been injured since the Notre Dame game.
And that's what it's all about at this time of the season, though. There's going to be injuries. It's about how you overcome that adversity.
Nearly a mistake out of the back, and it was. Luis Samko comes up with it. Omese couldn't come up with it this time. Dawson's cross into the area. Shot from distance goes over the crossbar. Oh, now Villamanjona couldn't keep it down this time, and it was actually a really good opportunity, and he knows it.
It was. His reaction said it all, because he thought he had a real chance. You could see he was trying to curl it into that top corner, and if it was just a better strike off of his foot, Tomas Hutt wouldn't have stood a chance. Villamanjona would love that one back, but that's better from Pitt in the final third, Nick.
A little bit too much space from a Syracuse perspective, has to say, at the top of the area. I know Villamanjona played in every single game this season for Pitt, making his 15th start of the year. I surely want that one back. Nathan Scott for Syracuse in midfield loses out this time. Michael Sullivan able to play it back, but it's physical. It's physical in that midfield, and that, you have to say, that could be the key today.
I think it very well could be, especially for two teams that are going to be attacking-minded throughout the match. It's about who wins those battles in the middle of the pitch. But in the same breath, staying disciplined as well. I mean, Syracuse has picked up a red card in each of the last 2 matches, and going down a man put them at a huge disadvantage in both contests. You can't afford that in the ACC.
It's down the sideline. Yeme Feitosa didn't keep it in, but has won the throw anyway. Let's throw it into Thorson. He goes into the area, goes down. Referee looking the other way. Samkow couldn't come up with it, and this time fouls Leighton. You could hear Coach McIntyre screaming at his team falling asleep on the throw. Well,
against the third-ranked team in the country in Pitt, you got to be focused for every second of all 90 minutes, Nick. And Syracuse just fell asleep there on the throw-in. And yeah, you're right. You could hear Coach McIntyre yelling, "Come on now," because they were honestly let off the hook on that sequence because Feitosa took the quick throw-in and Syracuse wasn't set up defensively how they wanted.
Defensively, it's been a struggle for Syracuse this season. Statistically, they do rank at the bottom end of goals allowed and goals allowed per game in the ACC, which obviously is a bit of an asterisk considering the last 2 games. 6-1 is an abnormal scoreline, but it's been a defense that's had holes all season long. And
talking to Coach McIntyre earlier in the week, he stressed as well defending set pieces, and that was one on the throw-in. And speaking of set pieces, one right here for Pitt.
A little bit far from goal, but surely an opportunity to whip it into the area, and Sam Layton and his back line need to be alert, but Syracuse have dropped points as a result of set pieces, and I think go back to the Louisville game where they conceded with about 50 seconds to go, and how crucial that is now when you look at the ACC standings. Syracuse had got 3 points that day. They would not have the opportunity, Louisville wouldn't have the opportunity to jump them if results go against Syracuse tonight. It was launched forward and out of play. It's about 15 minutes gone. Central New York, and referee sees a little bit of a concern. But Pitt, when they've scored first, they are 58-3-3 since 2019. I mean, that speaks for itself. And you notice that as well, when they do score first, they keep putting on the pressure. And you saw that against UVA. They got that first goal, and then just that first half in particular, Pitt were fantastic.
Yeah, that's the way they play. In fact, they set a program record for the shortest amount of time, scoring 3 consecutive goals. They did it in less than 3 minutes against the Cavaliers in that last match. That's why I'm not afraid. I should say I'm not surprised that Pitt wasn't afraid to be open and be attacking minded right off the bat to begin this game. They like to take the lead. The stats back it up, but unfortunately it backfired for them in this match.
Syracuse looking to break away, and that one sent long and far by Omese. Sorensen, the ball back was miscued, and it's all the way outside of Carter's technical penalty area. But cool and calm and collected, and Pitt are able to withstand the Syracuse press. Look to build out of the back again. Wilson goes down. Omese keeps on playing. The referee says no. And now Hughes can break away. Here's Smith. Got Burko at the far post. That one's deflected and will be a corner. When Syracuse does win the ball back, they break with such pace.
That's the thing. All those midfield battles that the Orange win, Nick, as I mentioned earlier, it's immediately head up. What can we do to get that ball into space, usually on the wings, because that's how Syracuse has had success. It was a service in the middle in which Fortier thrashed home that resulted in the goal, and a dangerous opportunity here from the set piece.
Elton Trafamba, the Clemson transfer, recognized on senior night. He's had a fantastic season in another shade of orange. Look to whip this in. Very crowded 6-yard area. That one's crossed to the near post. Ball comes out. Here's Scott. Scott shot from inside the area, and it just goes over the crossbar. And I'm not sure if that was a routine that was planned, but it nearly worked out for the Orange.
I was just gonna say, Nick, I don't think this was the plan, because originally I thought, you know, that there's not nearly enough power on that corner kick. It's a bit of a weak corner, but in the end, it did seem like it played out as though it was a set play, and almost worked out for Syracuse.
Layton sends it all the way back to his goalkeeper. Yemi Feitosa chasing after it. Tomas Hutt sends it even further away. Coach McIntyre vocal as ever on the sideline. Coach Vidovic is sitting comfortably in his chair just inside his technical area. Cool, calm, and collected. He is one of the best coaches we've ever seen in college soccer. He's won Coach of the Year more times than any other coach. He's won it 7 times last time in 2021, and surely will be a candidate for that again this season. All over the top. De Jesus sending it forward. Foul's called this time against Michael Sullivan. Daniel Burko has remained down. It looks like that fall to the ground was a little bit more painful than the Norwegian would have liked. Daniel Burko, who wearing number 19 tonight, has been wearing 99 for a couple games recently. Well, I think the theory might be that he might have lost his shirt, but
that's my theory, yeah.
but he has been excellent since he's found his starting role.
Yeah, he really has been, Nick. And you know, you love if you're Coach McIntyre as well, that to see the Norwegian, you know, putting his body on the line there, doing whatever it takes. And it took him a little while to get adjusted, but since he's taken over that starting role, to your point, he's really thrived.
Daniel Burko coming from LMU in Division II and scored 20 goals in 19 games last season, has 3 this season in 13 appearances. Oh, Macy. Couldn't find Smith that time. Samko headed it forward. Fortier. Nearly won back by Grenning, who comes up with it. Fortier forward. Scott, now Threadgold. Can Smith get played in behind? The pass was way too heavy by Threadgold. And Cabral Carter easily collects and resets for Pitt. I mean, it's that final ball that is so important, and it's clear that Pitt could get exposed if that final ball is just that little bit more efficient for Syracuse.
That's right. If that pass is on the money from Threadgold, without a doubt, Braden Smith is in with a shot on goal, surely. So it's about that execution, to your point. The idea was right. Threadgold and Smith were on the same page. The execution just has to be there.
Referee has decided that was taken a bit too quickly, maybe a moving ball, and we'll have it retaken by Jackson Gilman.
I will say, the pace hasn't slowed down really one bit. I mean, there's been a minute or two here and there, Nick, where there's been some longer spells of possession, but for the most part, these teams are going at it 100 miles an hour.
Scott wins it back. Battling with Svedby. Now Threadgold gets the better of Svedby. Daniel Burko didn't realize the ball was behind him, and Gilman was able to win it back. Svedby tried to play Samko inside. Panthers were looking for a handball, didn't get it this time. Sorensen will calmly look to play out of the back. It's been an exciting opening 20 minutes, and the intensity, it really resembles an ACC tournament game, it has to be said. And it's, you would like to think that Pitt don't know the scoreline over in Blacksburg. It is still 2-1 in favor of the Hokies. So as it stands, Pitt would secure the ACC title, regular season title, excuse me, sole possession of it. But well, Sam, do you think you can't let something like that affect your play style and your mindset?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you know, they might be given a heads up at the half of that score, but I don't think it really matters for them. They still came in with the goal of winning, and that's the task, you know, at hand for this Pitt team that has very high expectations and has been performing up to those expectations all season and really exceeding them for a team that was, you know, okay last season. Yes, they made the NCAA tournament, but they've made huge leaps here in this 2024 campaign.
The wind begins to pick up in central New York. It is November. Here is Daniel Burko. Can he get in behind? Daniel Burko off the post and out! And frustratingly smashes it against the fence. Defying physics. That looked like it was going in off the post. Daniel Burko inches away from doubling Syracuse's lead.
Goodness me. Could have been 2-0, it really should have been. Burko in on goal, and he had the right intention, trying to slip it into the bottom left corner. The woodwork works in Pitt's favor. Unbelievable.
And now Pitt can quickly come the other way. Here's Grenning. Grenning inside. Grenning shot away. Ball save. Oh, what a save! That was cleared away. Thomas Hart saves the goal. Then the ball is still alive. Feitosa gets stripped of it and cleared away. A goal-saving save by Thomas Hart. My heart is racing, Sam. That was an unbelievable stop.
I mean, the definition of end-to-end action.
Yeah, they tried to play Grenning in behind, and it will be a free kick for Pitt. But let's take a look at that save again.
Oh my, I mean, this is, I don't think we're giving this enough praise. Look at that. I mean, he flies from the middle of his goal all the way over towards that near post. That could be up there for save of the season from Tomas Hutt. I think Pitt thought it had a goal. I think Syracuse thought they had conceded there. And I'm sure Thorson absolutely can't believe it. Unreal scenes.
Thorson smashed it. He thought it was heading right into the net, and it was all guesswork, you have to say, from Tomas Hutt. Just launched himself at the hope that the ball would come towards his direction, and it did.
It's the goalkeeper's instinct, though, right?
And he has had a phenomenal year. Wasn't expected to be starting for Syracuse at the start of the season, but has taken that #1 role and run with it. And despite a few disappointing results recently for Syracuse, the goalkeeper's had a phenomenal year. But this is a great opportunity for Pitt. Feitosa and Sorensen standing over the free kick. 5 in the wall for Syracuse. Will it be the right foot of Feitosa? Whips it towards the area. The header at the back post. Samko was there as well. And once again collected by Tomas Hutt.
You think Hutt's motivated after conceding 6 times and ultimately coming out in the second half of that Clemson match? I would say so. It was Gilman, one of the captains for Pitt, who got up for the header. Now, not the best header, but still a nice stop by Hutt. And Syracuse does have to do a better job defensively of man marking, and got bailed out a little bit there by Hutt.
We're lucky to be joined by Syracuse head coach Ian McIntyre. Coach, it's been a hectic opening 25 minutes. Christian Fortier with a phenomenal first-time strike. How have you seen it?
Oh, I think we've been terrific, right? We're playing against, I think, arguably the best team in the country right now, and at least we're giving them a game. Look, that last play, look, we've got to make some better decisions, and we've had that with our young team, a little bit naive at times, but look, I think our attitude and effort, we've been outstanding. Long way to go in this game, but very, very proud of the start that we've had, but long way to go.
And then, Coach, Fortier getting the goal on the offensive end, but then defensively as well. Speak on Tomas Hutt, you know, after that Clemson game, coming back and already making a couple of big saves.
Certainly, look, you're playing against a team of the caliber of Pitt. We're gonna be suffering at times. We've done it well. We've hit the post as well, the other end. I think we've been very good.
Well, thank you so much,
Thanks,
Coach.
Guys.
Enjoy the rest of the game. And Jimre Omese ran down the sideline. Wasn't able to keep it in play this time. Pitt will have a throw just in front of the Syracuse bench. 20 minutes to go in the first half here on ACC Network Extra. It may not be officially decision day, but the final day of the regular season has not gone without surprises and excitement. Christian Fortier with a phenomenal goal in the 6th minute for Syracuse has been the difference maker against #3 Pitt. The Panthers, who would secure the sole possession of the ACC regular season title with a draw. See, results elsewhere could dictate that as well. And Nicholas Whaley and Sam Reese with you, breaking it all down and enjoying it for sure. It's been a fun opening 25 minutes or so. But Pitt have slowly been building the last 5 minutes or so of this first half. They've come close a couple times. Tomas Hutt was forced to make a couple big saves. Here's Casper Grenning. He's been able to drive into the penalty area a couple times already for Pitt. He's played in, no free kick called this time. Nathan Scott. Gabe Threadgill, Syracuse looking to break with pace. Well, Mace plays it all the way back and nearly caught Cutler de Jesus on the way through. Iofo heading it back into the midfield. Nicely controlled by Burko. Goes down. Pitt can quickly go the other way. Feitosa, Samkow. Looking for Thorson. Omese does well to send it way back forward. Both teams just sending it long, it feels. And particularly Syracuse a little bit more, but that has been the game plan for the Orange since the beginning. It feels as soon as they get the ball, they're looking to get upfield quick.
And I like the fact that Syracuse, even though they took the early 1-0 lead, they're not content. They want to score another and double the lead. They know that no lead is safe against a team as talented as Pitt, so I don't really mind the strategy, and I think that's what Coach McIntyre is instilling in his players.
Nicely won by Rosenblatt. Burko couldn't hold it up. It was nicely won there by Nicholas Sorensen. Gilman, Samko. Luis Samko couldn't hold on to it. Oh, the shot from Dawson fell right to him, and Sam Layton had to make a crucial last-second interception. Albert Thorson has had a couple really big opportunities in this first half.
Listen, as great as the start has been for Syracuse, it's moments like this defensively that you're shaking your head if you're an Orange fan, because a miscommunication like that in your own 18-yard box simply cannot happen. There have been a few instances such as that where the Orange have been bailed out a bit.
Teo Mayufo will send this one into the area. A little bit of in-swing from the Frenchman. Most of the Pitt players look to be running in from the far post. That one's whipped in. Thomas didn't come. And the referee said there was an infraction somewhere in there, and it will be a free kick to Syracuse.
This was a really well-taken corner kick right into the danger area, top of the 6, and it could have been headed home, but I think you're right. You know, whoever got ahead on that for Pitt in the end, just a little too aggressive, jumping over the back of a Syracuse defender. I think the Orange have received the message that they've got to be really careful defending those set pieces because Pitt has a lot of threats.
Thorson maybe held onto Kimray Omese a little too much there. It'll be a free kick for the Orange. We'll have stop of the clock as we get the ball back. Just under 16 minutes to go in the first half from a slightly chilly SU Soccer Stadium.
I guess we expect nothing less as the calendar now flips to November, right?
You say that, but we've had 80 degrees the last 2 days
well,
in CNY.
That's prime central New York weather, I suppose.
Feitosa comes up with it, and Pitt can quickly come the other way. Mayofo taking the green ahead of him. Plays it wide to Grenick. Grenick crossing to the area. Ball is loose. Threadgold clears. Burko. It's won by Michael Sullivan. Still Sullivan down the left flank. Syracuse can win it back. Look to break forward with speed again. Burko goes down. It will be a free kick. Burko being forced to come very deep into Syracuse territory. Referee just telling both sets of players to calm down a little bit. And we might have our first substitution of the evening as well. Carlos Zambrano getting prepped below us by Ian McIntyre. Carlos Zambrano, the junior from Miami, Florida. 2 seasons at Daytona State College and been able to make that big step up from JUCO to Division I. He's performed adamantly as well. Mese calmly heads it back to his goalkeeper. There Jesus playing it forward, finds Burko. Fortier. Scott. What's that? A play by Willem Mejona. And there is the first substitution of the evening. Daniel Burko is the one who makes way for Carlos Zambrano. A little bit of a surprising substitution considering that Burko was the number 9 who was holding play really, really well for Syracuse. Zambrano not exactly the number 9 type.
Right. It's a little interesting, Nick. With that being said, you know, Burko has been putting in quite the shift, helping out defensively, so maybe not the worst thing in the world to give him a little bit of a breather, but I would not be shocked in the slightest to see him back out there to begin the second half, the way he played the opening 30 minutes.
Possibly need a little bit of a break as well. That counter press, very important. Threadgold tried to snatch it off of Carter. Sorensen, Threadgold still running. And Pitt able to withstand the press. Sprinting forward is Casper Grenling. Grenling inside.
Outside.
Svenby. He's forced to go back. Here's Gilman. Sorensen. Willimanjona. Pitt taking their time, looking for that opening. The Syracuse back line that has had a few openings in the opening period. But they've been able to do just enough so far. Long ball over the top. Cutler de Jesus with the header. Now Thorson. Threadgold deflects it off of Svenby. Will be a Syracuse throw.
Just great work down this left wing by Gabe Threadgold, who Coach McIntyre called, along with Sam Layton, the most impactful player this season for the Syracuse team. That's what stuck out as well so far in this match from the Orange. Everyone's working together as a unit to put in a full shift and help out defensively.
Threadgold, one of those valuable seniors on the roster. It's a very young team. Total of 22 new players on the team, 13 of which are freshmen. 9 transfers in total. Threadgold is one of them, who transferred from the University of Washington in the offseason. Leading the team in points. Free kick is called. And Zambrano, who kicked the ball away, is going to receive a yellow card. And you could hear Coach McIntyre. He only just came on. And unfortunately, for Coach Ian McIntyre, that is letter of the law. Cannot kick the ball away, and it will be guaranteed yellow.
Yeah, that's one that's just not necessary. Zambrano, well after the whistle, clearly was blown, you know, kicking it towards goal. He has no need, you know, just a couple minutes after coming into the match as well. His first yellow card as well of the season. So not a type of player like that either who picks up many bookings.
We see a little bit of action on the Pitt bench as well. We'll see a substitution momentarily. We'll let you know who will be coming on for the Panthers. It'll be a Pitt throw, however, in the meantime on the near side. Beitosa. Thorson, played away by Layton. Zambrano is playing at the top of the line for Syracuse. Him and Braden Smith sharing space right in that forward line. Zambrano, normally a playmaking midfielder, maybe forced into a little bit of a different position tonight as he smashes that against his teammate.
Yeah, a bit of a different role for him, no doubt about it, but it goes back to Syracuse missing some key pieces on the attack.
Beitosa, flag is up for offside, but it was in a really good position, was Guilherme Beitosa. Leading the ACC in assists with 9 heading into tonight. 4th in the NCAA, one of the best playmakers in the country. Threadgold. Scott towards the byline. Threadgold gets it back. Zambrano! Couldn't wrap his foot around it.
Oh, another real good chance for the Orange. And yeah, you're right. Just couldn't get his foot around it. I really thought that was setting up to be quite the opportunity, and one Zambrano would have liked to put on target. I get the angle wasn't great, but that's one he'd like back to put on frame and at least test Cabral Carter.
2 substitutions for Syracuse. Coming into the game is Ezra Widman and Sakil Ming. Exiting the game for Syracuse is Christian Fortier and Braden Smith. Substitution as well for Pitt. Casper Grenling will exit the game. And Lossa Dahl will enter number 22 for the Panthers.
Substitutions for Syracuse, number 6, Ezra.
And as rough as that game at Clemson was, Ezra Widman did earn the penalty kick and scored the lone goal of that match, so he could be an impact sub.
Cutler de Jesus, very far forward. He's got Sakil Ming in the middle. couldn't find a fellow orange shirt. We'll have a stop of the clock here as there's an actual concern here to our right. So it looks like that's Chimreo Mace who stayed down. Under 10 minutes to go. One of Syracuse's star freshmen, slow to get up. Well, if there's a collision off the ball, possibly, we'll hopefully see a replay in a minute, and if anything, the referee will even go to the monitor. They'll see what happened to Chimreo Mace, and if it could mean a card of some kind for the Pitt Panthers.
Yeah, obviously with the utilization of VAR at the Division I collegiate level, these reviews for a potential red card can take place like we're seeing. This is how Michael Aqua got sent off last week against Clemson. And you do see a bit of an extended elbow there after the fact. Now, is there enough malicious intent in that from Lasadal, who just came into the match about a minute ago? I don't know how much intention there was there, Nick, but you understand why it's being looked at least.
Yeah, Lasadal, as you mentioned, just came into the game and already making an impact.
I mean, that right there, I believe, was his first touch.
Ooh, I mean, his arm did swing, but was that malicious intent? I wouldn't say so. And I think, let's see what the referee has to say.
There's no motion. There's no motion towards the player.
I wish I had you at Clemson.
Sir?
I wish you were our official at Clemson. You would have been a man down after 15 minutes.
Well, there is the confirmation and a little bit of a conversation that we were able to eavesdrop in between referee and coach Ian McIntyre. Frustrating night for the Englishman down in Clemson, South Carolina. But there will be no card issue to Lasadal on that occasion. And Chimreo Mace did get a blow to the head. Jay Vidovic and Ian McIntyre just talking it over. I mean, that was fascinating, a fascinating insight to the headspace of Ian McIntyre.
Yeah, that was. We got insight into his reaction, and you know, a class act as always is head coach Ian McIntyre. You could hear him immediately say, "No problem," to that decision. You know, he understood in real time that there was no malicious intent in that. Again, you can understand why it was looked at because of the elbow going to the head of Chimreo Mace, but again, I think we're both on the same page here that it wasn't enough for a red card offense. Just an unfortunate flailing elbow that happened to make contact with the face of Omese.
Referee David Ernbacher, who got the praise from Ian McIntyre, and there will see a substitution. Garrett Holman is making his 6th appearance of the season, comes in for Chimreo Mace.
Substitution for Syracuse,
New Jersey native from Hamburg.
Number 2, Chimreo Mace.
Play for the New England Revolution Academy, will make his 6th substitute appearance of the season for the Orange. Rosenblatt does well to win it back. Rosenblatt outside the foot to Ming. Brambrano and tried to do a little bit too much. And Pitt can reset. Widman. Zambrano plays it back and resets. It's especially going forward, the youthful nature of this Syracuse team is really being put on full display. Of that front line, Carlos Zambrano, who's a transfer, is the eldest of that attacking trio, you have to say at the moment. Sakil Ming, freshman, Ezra Widman, sophomore. Garrett Holman, who's now come in at right center back, is a freshman as well. All these guys coming from MLS academies, and that link between particularly New England, Toronto, and much of those Northeastern academies reigning true. And that will be a goal kick. Well done there by Garrett Holman, called into action almost immediately.
It is cool to see, you know, so many of the players on the Syracuse roster, to your point, who played for these MLS academies, got that, meaningful experience before even playing college soccer. And then on the flip side for Pitt, a roster full of international players that has, players from 9 different countries total, and a bunch of them played for academies of the likes of Barcelona and a lot of big clubs overseas as well.
You got the likes of guys from Spain, from Brazil, Jeremy Feitosa from Rio. And certainly one of the biggest stars and most exciting players to watch for Pitt this season and in the ACC as well. Running in behind and fouled was Feitosa on that occasion, I believe. And another free kick from a very dangerous position. It will be a yellow card for Sam Layton.
Yeah, we look back at the replay here. Layton just didn't time the challenge right. He wanted to go in and win the ball, was just a split second late. Yellow maybe a little harsh, but again, wasn't close to playing the ball when all was said and done. And this is the most promising free kick of the half so far for Pitt. Syracuse has to do its job here, and that goes for everyone. The wall and everyone man marking too. Can't allow a second chance.
Currently a 4-man wall. Will Ming join it to make it a 5? Will Nathan Scott be forced to lay on the ground? It looks like he will. But Pitt had a free kick from a similar position not too long ago. Sorensen and Feitosa stands over it. Feitosa! Straight into the hands of Tomas Hutt.
And that can be a difficult one to read, sorry, Nick, as, for a goalkeeper, when you have that 4-man wall set up, it can be tough to see through all those bodies. And even though that one's straight at him, a good job of focusing all the way through for Hutt.
Just under 7 minutes to go in the first half. Syracuse with that crucial goal in the 6th minute by Christian Fortier, the difference maker at the moment. It's been an exciting and energetic and physical first half of ACC soccer action. And as it stands currently, Virginia Tech still lead Clemson. And with just under a quarter of an hour to go from Blacksburg, Virginia, Pitt, no matter the result here, could still seal sole possession of the ACC crown, and a yellow card issued to Sakil Ming. And yet another big opportunity from a free kick from very close range for Pitt.
And all of a sudden, we're seeing Syracuse being forced in these positions where players are tracking back and almost having to commit these fouls because of that pace Pitt has going forward. A number of players are so quick on the ball, and that's been catching up to Syracuse in a bad way, where they haven't been in position and have been forced once again to concede these type of set pieces from not too far outside the 18-yard box.
The likes of Ezra Widman and Garrett Holman, Sam Layton, Akatla De Jesus been a little bit closer the last few minutes with standing in the wall. And Nathan Scott, I'm sure, is getting tired of laying down behind them. But it is crucial here, and a big opportunity for Pitt. Willem and Jonna into the wall, and it will be deflected out. There will be another Pitt corner. Arnell Willem and Jonna, the one who took it this time. Guilherme Feitosa not given the duties this time, and I'd say he did a little bit better than his captain.
I would say so. Ezra Widman as well, taking the blunt of that right off the head, but whatever it takes when you're a part of that wall.
Referee giving a little bit of a talking to in the penalty areas. Mateo Mayufa will wait patiently to take this corner kick. Gaggle of Pitt players waiting at that back post to run in.
Ready, nothing silly.
Actually, it'll be Guilherme Feitosa who will whip it in without swing. Feitosa to the near post. Oh, and it nearly crept towards the Syracuse net. I believe it was Arnell Willem and John at that time again. Couldn't steer it on target, however.
It looked like there was one defender in front of Villamajana that maybe threw off the shot just a bit, but it was another set piece in which a Pitt player got on the end of it. Again, those shots piling up for the Panthers. They now have one more than the Orange.
Holman launches it out of play. It's under 5 minutes to go in the first half at SU Soccer Stadium. And we'll have a substitution. Chimre Omese will come back into the game.
So a quick shift for Garrett Holman, just giving Omese a bit of a breather for a moment. But as a big part of that back line, Omese, no surprise to see him check back in to close out these final few minutes of the half.
Make sure to stick around at halftime. We will have all the insight and all the updates from all the games across the ACC, including that all-important Clemson-Virginia Tech game, which is still just about 14 minutes from concluding. We'll have a look into what's going down in Blacksburg, Virginia, because that could be pivotal not just for Pitt in terms of the ACC regular season title, but also for Syracuse. Virginia Tech just 1 point behind the Orange entering play. Beautiful ball by Scott to Threadgold, who just keeps it in play. Whip back into the area. Widman with the header. Ball is still loose. Carter up there. And Scott realized that he fouled the goalkeeper and even tried to palm it into the net. It will be a free kick to the Panthers.
Still another instance, though, of Syracuse making Pitt's defense a bit uncomfortable. You know, a header here, and not a good one from Sorensen, one of the key defenders for Pitt. It went backwards, and Scott with a good challenge, but a little too aggressive on Carter in the end.
There's still time for Pitt to grab an equalizer before the break. Dole into the area, Samko! Of all people you expect to hit it on target, actually will be a corner, so credit might be to the Syracuse defender on that occasion, Cutler de Jesus.
And again, it's just end-to-end action, Nick. We were just talking about a great Syracuse chance at one end, and you blink and you miss an opportunity at the other, and yet another corner as well for this Pitt team. You have to think eventually they'll capitalize on one of these chances because they've been piling up.
Now 2 corners each for Syracuse and Pitt tonight.
Attack it! And your sister. And your fucking car. Away,
Look to the near post. Zambrano was the first to head clear. Back into the area. Ball is loose. Samko nearly got ahead of Hutt, but I think Hutt got the punch clear initially. Svenby couldn't get the crossing because Zambrano was able to make the block. Syracuse playing physical and laying everything on the line.
Samko came out clutching his arm here. Hutt with a great job coming off his line to make the save. You can see behind the goal, great angle of it. Clean punch. Samko with a bit of an awkward landing, and he was a bit slow to get up.
And Samko was in the perfect position, and he's been doing that all season long, waiting inside that penalty area. That one's crossed in. Hutt couldn't hold on to it. That one's headed away and clear. Launched back in by Mayofo. And Hutt will calmly collect. And with 90 seconds to go in the first half, will gladly take his time. He looks a little bit out of breath, does the captain goalkeeper.
Yeah, this is, out of all games this season, this is probably one that he's been more busy in. He's been called into action quite a bit and has done his job very well so far. And it started with that fantastic save early on in this match.
Still enough time for another opportunity for either team for the halftime interval. Will that be for Syracuse or will it be for Pitt? It might even be for Syracuse. Here's Widman sprinting forward. A little bit of a heavy touch. Syracuse still have it with Zambrano. Ming. Zambrano. Well defended this time at Villamanjana. 35 seconds to go in the first half of what has been a thrilling opening 45 between Syracuse and number 3 Pitt. Zambrano able to block that long ball over the top by Gilman. And that might do it for the opening 45 unless Sorensen can send it forward. Samko wasn't able to connect with it. Widman, and that will do it. Opening 45 minutes goes the way of the Orange. Christian Fortier smashes home the first goal in the... At the moment, they are behind to Syracuse, and surely Luis Samko and the rest of the Panthers would like to finish the game and finish the regular season on top.
Right, obviously, you know, great for them to win the regular season ACC title, but right now they're not focusing on that. You know, they want to come back, get the victory in these final 45 minutes. Now, I will say that will come as a big relief to them, because no matter what happens tonight, as you mentioned, they've locked in that #1 seed due to that other result in Blacksburg, and that #1 seed also gets a bye, so they won't have to play for 9 more days.
Well, for head coach Jay Vidovich, this result certainly won't be enough. He's cleared away, and Pitt already putting on the pressure earlier on. Here's Sullivan. Ayufo laying in behind, and Thomas Hurt comes out to collect. But head coach Jay Vidovich has been around the ACC for a long time, in his 9th season at the helm for the Panthers. Boy, what it would mean to get that ACC tournament title and possibly a national championship. He's been able to lead this team to the College Cup twice in 2020 and most recently in 2022. Just haven't been able to get over the hurdle into the national final. And also yet to win an all-important ACC trophy as well. But this is a team that, in past years, you've seen Pitt, a really good team, really good fundamentals of the team, technically brilliant, but just haven't had that final X factor. Carlos de Jesus clears it away this time, but Sam, is this Pitt team worthy of that status of being a national champion?
Oh, I would like to think so. You know, despite what tonight's scoreline suggests, this has been, in the big picture of things, a very consistent Pitt team that has had 5 ranked wins this season. Just an unbelievable mark for them. And if they can finish top 4 in the country heading into the NCAA tournament, they'll have home field advantage all the way through the quarterfinals until the Final Four. That could be huge for them as well. I think they're definitely in the mix for a national title conversation, them and Clemson, when it comes to the ACC.
Ohio State is ranked #1 in the United Coaches Soccer Poll, at least in the most recent week. We'll see what happens after this week, especially if this result holds, and obviously that result in Blacksburg, 2-2. A little bit of a shocker and a bit of a surprise as well. Thomas Hart, a little bit of miscommunication there between him and Leighton, but was able to be sent away. But obviously this may be the regular season finale, but there's still so much soccer still to be played.
I mean, it's crazy to think about, but in theory, if you're in the ACC, you could play 4 conference tournament games, and then if you make a run all the way to the national title, that could be 6 additional games. That's 10 postseason matches right there. About a third of your season is just the playoffs, which hasn't even begun yet.
And don't forget, these are games that are at the highest level, intense games, physical games, and games where you have to be on your A game. Syracuse have reached that summit once back in 2022, won the national championship, and a little bit like Pitt were doubted for much of the season. Pitt started this season unranked. Since week 1 have been ranked in the top 10. And as you mentioned, 5-0 against ranked opponents this season. Truly have been a class above much of the rest, but because the ACC is so good, they're held to such a high standard. Foul is brought back against Syracuse. Oh no, Willem Jono was the one who was fouled.
And I will say, Nick, you know, looking at last year's resume for the Panthers, they finished 6-7-4, just 2-3-3 in ACC play, still made the NCAA tournament. The reason I bring that up is because I think that has to give hope to Syracuse, who record-wise is in a eerily similar situation. There's still hope there because of how stacked this conference is, and that's why a win tonight for the Orange could go an extremely long way in those chances.
Pitt are #1 in the RPI rankings going into tonight. And have been ranked in the top 8 since week 1, haven't dropped below that mark. And were ranked first from September 24th to the 15th of October. Before they had a little bit of a bump in the road against Cal and High Point, the 2 of the 3 losses on the year for the Panthers, both by just the 1-0 scoreline. Their ability to bounce back, especially against a really good UVA team last time out, and able to beat number 6 Denver 2-0. They have been relentless and efficient when they've come up against really good opponents.
Right, I mean, there's going to be a few bumps in the road here and again, but to have 12 wins in 15 matches, only 1 defeat in conference play as well, it shows you how solid they've been throughout the entire season. They have threats going forward. The defense, though, has been what stood out to me with the Panthers, and that's why maybe it's a bit of a surprise to see them tonight concede so early in the match.
Here's Braden Smith. He gets fouled by Mateo Maufo. Syracuse, who haven't really had much of the ball to start this second half, will have an opportunity from the free kick.
And on the topic of responding well, I mean, that's something Syracuse has done to a great degree so far tonight. Still 40 minutes left, but after that 6-1 thrashing at Clemson, it's been a phenomenal response from Coach McIntyre's players against another top 3 team in the nation.
Zambrano couldn't control it. Daniel Burko not in the starting 11 to start the second half. A few of the starters have returned, likes of Fortier and Braden Smith, but Zambrano has stayed in the game. Layton wins it off of Samkow. Fortier tried to play Zambrano in behind, but couldn't thread the needle. All over the top. Macy will have to deal with it. Forces Tomas Hart to just send it into the stratosphere and out of SU Soccer Stadium.
Sometimes better safe than sorry, so you can't really blame Hutt there. Just got to play it safe.
And the pass back from Macy was a little bit weak.
Exactly right. And, you know, we've seen crazy things with a mishandle from the goalkeeper at their feet, and that could lead to disaster. It's the last thing you want if you're Syracuse, a mistake such as that to allow Pitt right back into the match.
Almost everybody inside the Syracuse half for Pitt. And Elton Chafamba is called for a foul against Samko, and Pitt play it quickly and give it right back to Syracuse. Smith on the turn, gets away from Maofo. Maofo, as ever, getting goal side, however. Scott plays it into the area. Cabral Carter able to come onto it.
Well, that goes back to what we were talking about at one point in the first half, where the idea is right, the execution just not quite there for Syracuse.
Executed it once, and after a great Christian Fortier strike, have made sure the Pitt backline is on their toes. It's the Pitt attack that has looked that a little bit more lively to start this second half. The counter press as well from Syracuse has been efficient all night long. You can see just to the left of the picture, Syracuse backline press really high towards the center circle, making it the playing area very condensed, and that's making it difficult for Pitt.
It is just really good communication all around for Syracuse, not allowing many gaps for Pitt to really advance the ball into that final third.
Threadgold, lovely work by Fortier. Still gave Threadgold. It was well won. Pitt can reset once again. You can hear Coach McIntyre yelling, shape, shape. It's all about, especially with this 3-5-2 formation that Coach McIntyre has really embraced all season long. It's about making sure the team works as a unit and in its correct shape. Samka. One back by Omese. Still Omese. Pitt player down to the left of your picture. See who that is. Lost a doll, number 22. Stayed down and clutching that left ankle, and it would be a concern. for the Dane, who is making his 16th appearance of the season. He's played in every single game for Pitt this season, and since coming off the bench, does look pretty lively. He has 6 assists on the season as well.
Yeah, he's really been the #1 super sub for this team. Only 5 starts, but as you mentioned, has appeared in every single match this season. Just a freshman as well. Scored his 2nd goal of the campaign in that last game against UVA as well. So Dahl, who made his presence known early in this match after that video review, has been a bit of a pest, you know, making it challenging for Syracuse to deal with him when he's on the ball, Nick.
Dahl is ranked as the number 24 freshman in the country in midseason by Top Draw Soccer, and he's not the only one. There's quite a few in this Pitt team who have had accolades of such, freshmen included. On ball over the top, flag stays down for the minute. Massa is able to collect. The opening 10 minutes of this second half have been, I wouldn't say calmer, but it's been a little bit more cagey. I think both Syracuse and Pitt still trying to find that opening, and both teams making it difficult for each other.
Yeah, I would say tactics coming more into play in terms of the build-up for both teams, such as this instance where you're seeing Syracuse pump the brakes a little bit, move the ball through the middle of the pitch, and really control the possession, because that's all you're asking for when you're in the lead.
Zambrano out wide to Threadfield, who's got space. Thread going into the area. Smith was waiting, so was Sorensen. Samkow tried to find Guilherme Feitosa, but that was nearly won back by Zambrano, who's really been flying into challenges tonight. Rosenblad's able to win it back. Dahl's able to force it out of play. Actually took a deflection off of Rosenblatt last. It will be a Pitt throw.
I do think that's a big reason, though, why Zambrano has stayed in the match, Nick. It's because of his work ethic ever since coming onto the pitch. He's giving it his all, and that's something Coach McIntyre really appreciates. So while I'm maybe a little bit surprised we haven't seen Burko re-enter yet, the work ethic through and through from Zambrano since coming into the game has been evident.
Conventionally not a forward. He's normally a playmaking midfielder, so he's been put into a little bit of a different role by his head coach, and has, you have to say, thrived in the minutes that he has had. Pitt looking for that opening, looking to slowly build, playing it into Samkow and see what he can do. 9 goals on the season for the senior. I was lucky enough to see him play for Texas United in USL League 2, as part of, you know, you have summer baseball. It exists as well in soccer in USL League 2 and other semi-professional, and he is the kind of player you hate to play against, but absolutely love it if he's on your team. Also plays with that aggressiveness and always plays with energy. On ball over the top. Nicely collected by Thomas Hutt on this occasion, but Luis Samkow is somebody that he's been at Pitt all 4 years, and in this season in particular has really taken that extra step.
And it is really cool because on both sides with Pitt and Syracuse, you see a multitude of players who do try to stay in shape and play at a high level by joining USL League 2 sides in the summer, and you're playing at a pretty high level, you know, against a lot of guys who are older than you, and that's meaningful experience to get you ready for moments like this, and I'm sure it benefited Samkow on the field just as it benefited you in the booth, Nick.
Yeah, it was a fantastic time down in Plano, Texas. That is the home of Luis Samkow. A lot of guys do go back to their hometowns over the summer and just try and stay fit. Luis Samkow was certainly a character back then on that team, and it's certainly been an absolute star for Pitt this season and for head coach Jay Vidovich. And surely will have professional admirations and likely be selected in the MLS Super Draft in a few months' time. Zambrano. Syracuse break quickly again. Zambrano from distance forced Cabral Carter to make the dive, but it wasn't on target in the end by Zambrano.
I still like the ambition from the junior. Why not take a crack at goal from this kind of range? You know, there was an opening there. He just shanked it a little bit too far to his left, but I don't mind the effort.
A ball in behind. Omese loses his footing. Albert Thorson was challenged by the freshman. It will be a free kick. And it is not the first time tonight that Syracuse has given up free kicks and relatively close to their goal. Sam, do you think is that just the way that Pitt is playing so direct?
Yes.
Or is that just because, well, I guess you answered my own question.
Sorry, I was so eager to answer it, Nick. But I do think that's what it's what's resulted in Syracuse conceding these type of free kicks, because Pitt is so quick through the midfield. They have so many quick players to get into the attacking third that Syracuse has been forced out of position at times, and that's why we've seen these chances.
Feitosa and Mayufo standing over the free kick, looking to float one into the area. Referee is called for some infringement against Pitt. And there will be a free kick for Syracuse.
Well, so far so good for the Orange defending those set pieces. That's been a big talking point about the Syracuse team, and head coach Ian McIntyre knows it. He admitted that he's been frustrated with the way his team has defended on some restarts, such as free kicks from those dangerous areas. But Syracuse has done its job thus far. But again, you need a full 90-minute performance to get the job done against a top 3 team like Pitt. So far so good at the hour mark, Nick.
Coach McIntyre said success tomorrow starts today. There's no thinking about the postseason just yet. It was all focused on this game. Coming off of one of the worst defeats in program history against Clemson, 6-1. Against the then number 3 team in the country. The worst loss under head coach Ian McIntyre's stewardship in his 15 seasons at SU, but they have bounced back in a major way in their final home game of the regular season. A ball over the top for Dahl. Rosenblatt is forced to defend. Dahl is able to switch the play. Svenby. Everyone inside the Syracuse half right now for Pitt. Down goes Feitosa, and another free kick in very dangerous territory for Pitt. And yeah, another free kick goes against the Orange. This one very central and maybe a little too far from goal.
I think it's a little too far from goal, and that's why Syracuse has to be ready. They're going to play that high line, making sure that last defender is at the edge of the 18, but Syracuse has to be aware of a potential short pass. They got to be alert. Now it'll be on the whistle as the official sets up Syracuse's wall 10 feet back. I would be surprised, though, if there's an effort on target. I think it's about 5 yards too far out for that, Nick.
Louis Samko exits the game. Back into the game comes Casper Grenning for this free kick, first substitution of the second half between both teams. Guillermo and Sorensen standing over this one. Sorensen goes for goal and just rattles the roof of the net on this occasion by the freshman Nicholas Sorensen.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd try it, but it was worth an effort. And I mean, if that just had a bit more dip on it, we're talking an upper 90 finish and maybe a Sports Center top 10 goal.
I mean, it wasn't too far away, was it, from the freshman Nicholas Sorensen? He's ranked as the number 3 freshman in the country by Top Draw mid-season, coming from just outside Zurich in Switzerland. Has played for the Hoffenheim Academy in Germany, as well as FC Zurich's U18s. And has played now in his 15th game this season, has been a main figure for Jay Vidovic this season, and certainly one for the future as well. Carter has to send it forward as quick as he can. Got it there. Jesus went all over the back of Feitosa. The referee says no foul. And that time, looked like Gilman won the ball. The referee agreed. It's frantic out there. It really is at the moment. The midfield battle is completely equal, you feel. Zambrano's effort. Brilliant sliding challenge this time. It was Michael Sullivan with the effort. And Pitt can retain possession once again.
Yeah, on that chance right there, Nick, Zambrano maybe a little bit too ambitious because he had 2 options to his right to lay the ball off to. I'm not sure a shot was the best decision in that moment.
Towards that right-hand side. Losadal, who has been playing on the left and on the right for Pitt in this second half, and Chimere Omese has been given a lot of duty down that right flank, if whether that is Dahl or the likes of Albert Thorson, who was now playing in that central role for Pitt. Good defending there by Cutler De Jesus. Jafamba. Red Gold find an opening. Can Syracuse counter quickly? That one's deflected. Smith. Scott. Nathan Scott on the twist. On behind Braden Smith, but he's got space. Rosenblatt on the overlap. Smith. Still Braden Smith, lovely bit of skill. Long cross to the back door, Thread Gold. Gilman with the header. And here come Pitt the other way, and that is a foul that's called against Jafamba. Well, that was played quickly, and Zambrano, I think, got in the way. He's already been booked. He really needs to be careful there, though. His first yellow card was for a similar infringement, kicking the ball away.
Well, I'd like to see the replay again because I thought in real time that the ball actually went off the official. I could be wrong, Nick, but that's been a theme. Pitt has been trying to do those quick restarts constantly, and that's a couple of times now where it hasn't really worked out for them.
And those are the free kicks you feel are easy. You just got to pass it to your teammate.
Right. Got to be careful.
Carl Zambrano got a yellow card in the first half for kicking the ball away and delaying the restart, and that is, for all intents and purposes, a guaranteed yellow. Blocking a free kick from being taken quickly is another one. So the midfielder will thank his lucky stars for the moment. Here's Sullivan. Daniel Burko has got his Syracuse jersey on. It looks as if he's ready to come into the game for the Orange. Long ball over the top by Jafamba. Smith with the pace. Just doesn't get the better of Mayufo. And Smith does foul the Frenchman. I mean, Smith, another one of those freshman stars this season for Syracuse, making a 6th start of the year, and he's got incredible pace, but when he does eventually lose out on the play, he does foul the Frenchman there.
It was almost like on that play he had a little bit too much pace where he got in front of Mayufo, but then almost overran the ball. And then it went over the ball. He went past the ball was over his head and allowed Mayufo to recover. But you're right, Smith is so quick up top for Syracuse, and that really poses a threat for any back line across the ACC.
Well won. Into the area. Oh, and it nearly fell to Grenning. Ball is still loose. Dribbling into the area this time was Svenby. Pitt will have to work the ball around again. Syracuse able to hold on. Casper Grenning. Grenning to the right foot. Grenning deflected cross. Rosenblatt got in the way. The referee actually said, excuse me, that was no deflection. It will be a goal kick. Casper Grenning, who yet to score this season for Pitt. And there is that substitution that we mentioned. Daniel Burko comes into the game. Carlos Zambrano exits after a very decent outing by Mr. Zambrano from Florida. But now Daniel Burko will look to take his place.
Yeah, no surprise to see Burko come back into this match. It wasn't a matter of if, but when he would return to the contest, and very fresh legs as well. I mean, he came out with, if I remember correctly, about 15 minutes left in the first half. So he's been well rested for a while, and I think he's ready to put in a good shift with that energy off the bench the rest of the way now.
Also adding a little bit of a new dimension as handball is shouted by Coach Ian McIntyre on Nicholas Sorensen there, but the referee said no. The other thing about Daniel Burko is he adds a little new dimension, his height. 6'3" in size is the Norwegian. Reminds me a little bit of another Norwegian who is lighting up the soccer world.
Wonder who that could be.
I know, right? And in a way, you feel that Burko does resemble Erling Haaland's little play style. Very, very, very quick, very physical.
Yep.
And we saw he had that one opportunity early in the first half where it rattled against the inside of the post, but is able to get in between the lines really, really well. The referee is now going to give a yellow card to Thomas Hutt, I believe, for time wasting.
Yeah.
Or maybe for another reason. I'm not quite sure why the referee, David Owenbacher, stopped play.
I could be wrong, but I do believe it was for time wasting there, Nick.
Well, I'm honestly confused.
Yeah, that was strange.
Like,
because now it's been placed, yeah, on the ground.
Wow, but Thorsen's been asked the question if he could start pressing Thomas Hutt, and in the end, Hutt was able to get it forward. Strange sequence there. Carter, heavy touch, is forced to send it towards the left-hand side. Mayufo.
Don't foul. Behind the ball.
Feitosa. Fortier wins it. Daniel Burko, the defending by Sorensen, but the referee calls it back. Free kick, Syracuse.
And that's good officiating there because he was waiting to see if advantage could be played, but only waited for one extra pass. So you can wait a couple of seconds to see how the play develops, but he has every right to call that back, and that's what he did.
Davidovich not very happy about the referee decision, questioning where the foul was. Davidovich has seen quite a lot in his time, as we can confirm there was a yellow card for Guilherme Feitosa. First yellow card for the Pitt Panthers tonight.
I guess that settles things out a little bit in terms of that weird sequence. Why it was ultimately a free kick for Syracuse.
Davidovich on the Pitt sideline, certainly perplexed by the situation. And it's getting a little bit more fiery out on the pitch. Both teams know how important this is for both. Fortier tries to whip it into the area. Syracuse will have a corner.
And Fortier just cut it back a little bit more. I think there's a good chance he would have found Braden Smith, who could have taken a crack at goal, but not the end of the world for Syracuse here. They earn a corner kick.
Only the second corner of the evening for the Orange. Elton Chifamba will stand over it this time. Chifamba, who is the national champion in 2021 and 2023. No short of pedigree as the Syracuse crowd shakes the bleachers, cross into the area. Ball is loose. Oh, it's off from Omesa. Nathan Scott doubles the lead for the Orange. And the number 3 Pitt Panthers are in big trouble now. With 20 minutes to go, Syracuse up 2-0.
Not the best service I've seen in the world from a corner kick, but Pitt can't clear, and Syracuse says, we'll make you pay for that. An absolute screamer from Nathan Scott. Look at the pace on this strike. Absolute laser. Carter didn't even move a muscle, and Syracuse has doubled the lead. This place is rocking.
After a difficult few weeks for the Orange, back-to-back ACC defeats. 3-0 to UVA, 6-1 to Clemson. And now, against the ACC regular season winners, are up 2-0. Nathan Scott with his second of the year. Big moment for the UC Riverside transfer. And the Californian might have scored one of the biggest goals of his career. There's still 20 minutes to go, and Syracuse are feeling alive.
Still plenty of time, but momentum's a big thing, and it's completely on the side of Syracuse. I mean, this is the most energetic I've seen the SU Soccer Stadium all season long, Nick, and with good reason. The Orange putting together their most impressive performance of the campaign so far. And now for Pitt, it's about overcoming the frustration and giving it all you got going forward to try to come back.
Still a lot of time to go. And if we've learned anything about the Pittsburgh Panthers this season, is that they do not give up. Over the top, Burko chasing. Oh! Nearly trundled into Carter's own net. Every little thing is not going the Panthers' way at the moment. Sorensen playing it back and Carter couldn't control.
I mean, it's just extremely uncharacteristic from the Panthers, one of the top teams in the entire nation all season long. These are not mistakes that a team like Pitt makes. It's just a bad idea from Sorensen overall, sending a ball back to your goalie with that much pace and gifting Syracuse a corner. Now, it could have been more disastrous, could have led to an own goal.
Kafamba will have his third corner of the evening. This crowd is alive, shaking the stand. Kafamba's cross to the back post, Mason! Wide open header at the back post. And he's had a couple of those this season.
He'll be thinking about this one for a while, no matter how this game plays out. No one was marking him, not a single Pitt player, and he just completely got the header wrong.
Here comes Sorensen, sprinting through the Syracuse midfield. He's got 4 options ahead of him. Sorensen still going, and a brilliant challenge by Leighton. And the Australian is able to send it forward. Now Syracuse can counter on their own. Smith doesn't play in Burko. Smith still on his feet. Still goes Braden Smith. Now plays it to Threadgold. Burko's at the far post. Here's Scott. Back to Smith. Threadgold again. Burko still chilling around the top of that 18-yard box. Syracuse will now work the ball again. What a run that was from Nicholas Sorensen from all the way back. That ball over the top. Nathan Scott couldn't pick it up. But this is a game that's been end-to-end throughout. Pitt have had more of the possession, but Syracuse ultimately have that 2-goal scoreline.
There really hasn't been a major dull moment in this match. It's been completely open, end-to-end action. I mean, if you're a neutral spectator happening to tune into this match, you picked the right one, because this has had a little bit of everything, Nick.
Just over a quarter of an hour to go, and Syracuse, don't forget, were upset by Lemoyne early in the season when they were ranked number 7 in the country. Going into tonight, they needed to win this game to at least have a chance of the NCAA tournament. And now living up to the billing. Pitt, who have secured the ACC regular season title because of Clemson's draw earlier tonight. But it's not the performance that you expected from a team that should be competing for the national championship. And if it's the first time that Pitt, if they do lose this game, would have lost by a scoreline by 1 goal or more. But they do have a say in the game. Casper Grenning. The Panthers team that certainly won't give up. Grenning into the area. Leighton is able to block. Couldn't keep it in play. It will be a corner for the Panthers.
And I'll tell you what, Nick, the crazy thing here on what I'm coining ACC Decision Day is that Clemson will likely be scratching its head, because now that Pitt is trailing by 2, if Clemson had scored 1 more to beat Virginia Tech, we'd be talking about the Tigers jumping the Panthers to secure that #1 seed in the bye.
It is a game of many moments. Clemson, who went down 2-0, were able to come back. Cross towards the near post, Hart had to clear. Gabe Threadgold swing and a miss. Bertrand gliding in, and his shot couldn't find that far corner like he wanted it to. Syracuse still lead by 2. Thomas Hart was at a really great bounce back game tonight. Conceded 6 against Clemson, was even pulled with 20 minutes to go. And Coach McIntyre said that it was nothing more than just a tactical substitution. I'm sure Thomas Hurt came into this game wanting to put on a great performance and has done so for the Orange. Feitosa carrying forward for the Panthers. Now it's crossed back into the area. Syracuse able to defend. They've been able to defend those crosses into the area for much of the night. And when they have fallen to any of the Pitt Panthers, they've been able to clean it up. Bilimanjona up against Scott. Smith with support. And Syracuse win it and can break away. Scott over the top, and Sorensen is able to come back onto it. The ball from Nathan Scott just wasn't good enough to get back to Daniel Burko.
And it was as simple, I think, as Burko just not expecting it. He had held up his run, not thinking that Scott would play him that ball.
Sullivan. Burko coming back defensively, and the referee said that he got the man before the ball, and it will be another free kick substitution for Pitt. Felipe Mercado will enter the contest for his 6th appearance of the season, the Colombian.
Substitution for Pittsburgh, number 8.
Exiting is Lossa Dahl, who has put on a good shift tonight. It's been really lively down that right-hand side, and also the other wing on many occasions for the Panthers. That one's played short. Here's Grenning. Headed back into the area. The flag is up for offside anyway. Let's take a look what happened on that header back into the area, and in the end the flag was up for offside. And Thomas Hart has been ready and alert throughout the game. Two more substitutions as well being prepped for Syracuse. Ezra Widman getting ready to re-enter the contest, and Ernest Bauer is ready to make his first appearance of the night.
Fourth, speed to the fourth, good to the fourth.
Syracuse, who have taken the lead in the majority of their ACC games this season, but against the likes of Louisville, against Wake Forest, where Syracuse had the lead, were not able to hold on to it. Notre Dame was that first occasion where Syracuse scored first and were able to win. Ezra Widman does enter the contest. Once again, Braden Smith and Christian Fortier will have their own curtain call. Ernest Bauer will enter. The two freshmen will certainly take their time. Christian Fortier, who scored the opening goal for Syracuse in the 6th minute. How decisive could that be in about 11.5 minutes time if the results stay as is? Pitt struggling to play out to the back. Counter press from Daniel Burko.
Yeah, that's what Burko brings, though, after being out for a good portion of the match, about 30 straight minutes, including the halftime break. You know, he has fresh legs compared to most of the players currently on the pitch, and he's a workhorse.
Luis Samkow came off the pitch for Pitt before Syracuse scored that second goal. And since then, you feel that Pitt has sort of struggled to get things going offensively.
They have. It hasn't been the ideal build-out play for Pitt. It's been more, you know, playing through balls, hoping for the best, and it hasn't worked out so far, and a lot of the credit has to be given to Syracuse's back line.
Burko loses out this time. Pitt can quickly break forward. Quick one-touch soccer. Bertrand. Now Grenning. Grenning on the left foot. Oh. Inches away from that right-hand corner, and one of the best chances of the second half for Pitt.
And I think Ben Rosenblatt did just enough, Nick. He didn't get a touch, but look at that. The lunge forced Grenning to go a little bit closer to the end line and make that angle just ever so slightly more difficult. And that's why ultimately I believe that Grenning couldn't tuck it into that bottom right corner. It's the little things like that that can throw off a shot and ultimately win you a game if you're Syracuse.
Tomas Hutt told to send it forward. Under 10 minutes to go. Syracuse with a 2-0 scoreline over the number 3 team in the country. The Pitt Panthers, who have secured the ACC regular season title for the first time in program history, no matter the scoreline tonight. Jay Vidovich and his squad with national championship aspirations are behind to a Syracuse team that have really struggled in ACC play, who, if results even stand this way, will finish with their worst seeding ever in the ACC tournament. Mayufo. Casper Grenning forced to go back by Rosenblatt. William John. Grenning couldn't control. Now Threadgold plays it down the line to Omese, who kept it in play. 8.5 minutes to go. Deflected out of play. It will be a Pitt throw. William John telling his team to play quickly.
I mean, if you're Pitt, you might as well just send everyone forward, give it all you got in these final 8 minutes, because again, they've secured the #1 seed, they have the bye. So Nick, they won't play for another 9 days. They don't play again till Sunday, while every other team in the conference has to play in the opening round on Wednesday.
Oh, but a nice break after what's been an intense ACC season, an insanely quick regular season in all of college soccer. These teams both playing two games week in, week out for the best part of 3 months. Especially when you get to ACC play, those games just get that much more intense. Mercado. Here's Grenning. Grenning on the right foot, blocked by Rosenblatt. Omese sending it forward. Be a Pitt throw on the far side. Casper Grenning, who has been most lively on this left-hand side, great player is Eden Hazard, and you could kind of see that that energy that he brings, especially one-on-one. But Rosenblatt for Syracuse has been pretty much man-marking him for most of this second half, has been able to contain him. Pitt still have time. If they score one soon, that would make quite the finish. But Syracuse, who can counter here with Scott. Chafamba misplays it. Pitt have the ball back again. Ooh. And then John is able to get it through the legs of Nathan Scott there. Ricardo. Ball plays it in. And Albert Thorson, his touch was a little bit heavy, and Ben Rosenblatt had to make amends.
Rosenblatt just absolutely smashing that one, saying, I don't want to give you any sort of second chance. And you're right, Thorson, if that first touch had just been a little bit better, that's a shot on goal right there.
Sixth corner of the night for the Panthers. They're running out of time, under 6 minutes to go. Whipped into the near post and nicely collected by Tomas Hutt. And he will take his time sending this ball away.
You see the corner taken by Mayufo. A little too close to the goal for Pitt's liking. You want that service to really be in the sweet spot of the second 6, and that's between the edge of the 6-yard box and the penalty spot. But credit goes to Tomas Hutt nonetheless for claiming that ball right away.
Widman, who comes up with it. Sullivan, then Threadgold, now Threadgold. Gabe Threadgold in behind! Forcing the save from Carter. And Pitt are able to get away. Beautiful one-touch soccer between Nathan Scott and Gabe Threadgold. And it nearly was 3. Under 5 minutes to go. Nathan, excuse me, that's Sam Layton. He's sprinting forward. And the captain, he wanted to try and do something, but in the end ran into a wall of white shirts. And what a game he has had coming back from suspension.
And how about Syracuse still going for that 3rd goal?
Ezra Widman. He took it away from Sorensen. Still Widman. Scored the only goal against Clemson from the penalty spot. He looks to keep it in the corner, goes down. The referee says, get back up. 4 minutes to go. There is still time for Pitt to get back in this game. And that's the beauty of college soccer, is that the clock ticks down from 45. We will know exactly when this game will end. Syracuse 4 minutes away from the biggest win of the season. Pitt 4 minutes away from confirming an ACC regular season championship. Hutt keeps it in play. I'll let the seconds tick by.
The Orange can feel it. At this stage of the match, Nick, it's all about just playing smart, not making any silly mistakes. And if you can have the opportunity, just take it towards the corner flag. Bleed out that clock.
Jafamba able to win it. Gets caught, and that will be a yellow. Casper Grenning will surely go in the book. The referee stops the clock, and there it is. Alton Jafamba took a few tumbles on the floor as well. Like I mentioned, the referee will stop the clock.
Yeah, Grenning doesn't seem too pleased, but I don't think he has much of an argument. I mean, he didn't get any of the ball, and that's a dangerous challenge. Really going in with the cleats as well, coming in way late on Alton Jafamba. That's a yellow card any day of the week, and it's actually being reviewed for a potential red, it appears, Nick. And the way he went into that challenge, I understand why the official is taking a look. He had no intention to play the ball, in my opinion.
Especially the reaction as well from Jafamba. We'll see what this looked like. I mean,
way late.
It's hard to say that he wasn't looking for the ball, but the ball was a bit far away. See the decision.
It's just yellow. Yellow, yeah.
And confirmation from referee David Owenbacher that it is just a yellow card for Casper Grenning.
Yeah, I think a fair, decision in the end. I think it was borderline where I don't think you can give that a red. If Grenning completely showed the studs there and went into Jafamba a little bit more harshly, then we could be talking about a red card. Again, a late challenge, a worthy yellow card. That's all in it. And I am intrigued to see maybe how that video review shakes up the momentum of the match, because this has been very fast-paced, Nick, but all of a sudden you have a few minutes of stoppage with 3 minutes remaining. How does that potentially impact both of these teams coming down to the wire?
Alton Jafamba was quickly back to his feet. Send it far forward, and it went over the heads of the Pitt defenders. Smart play by Burko. Waste a few precious seconds.
Go, Nick, go, Nick, go.
He's able to win the throw. Burko hyped up. Under 3 to go. Referee is trying to get Ernest Bauer to hurry up. I don't think the experienced midfielder will want to go too quickly. Still in the corner, helped by the corner flag, and Burko knocks it out for a goal kick. The time will continue to tick.
You Can't see it on your screen right now, but the entire Syracuse bench is standing up, Nick. This is what it means to this team to try to get a statement win to close out the regular season.
The fans also getting riled up at SU Soccer Stadium. And everyone is all bundled up. It is cold down there, but they are all excited of what they're seeing on the pitch. It's not over yet. Under 2 to go. Ball over the top. And nicely defended by Omese. And it will be the 7th corner for Pitt as we approach the 90-second mark. The biggest win of the year for the Orange is 90 seconds away. Cross into the area, headed by Rosenblatt. Bauer was able to get to it, back into the area. Ball is still loose. Oh, it nearly fell to Sullivan. And Syracuse clear. Sorensen, 60 seconds to go in the regular season for both Pitt and Syracuse. Bertrand, Thorson cleared away. Bauer gets the crucial touch forward. That will take a few more seconds. It looks like Syracuse are gonna do it. 35 to go. Carla De Jesus clears. 25 to go. Is there one last grasp for Pitt? Casper Svenby is fouled and the clock will stop. A yellow card is issued to whoever kicked the ball away. 17 seconds left on the clock. If whoever kicked the ball away didn't, it might have even kept the clock running. But in the end, Casper Svenby and Mikael Bertrand will take a free kick with 17 seconds to go. Gabe Threadgold is the one who received the yellow. One final roll of the dice for Pitt. Whipped into the area, the header is there. It'll be a goal kick. 10 seconds to go. On a night where the Pitt Panthers secured the ACC regular season title. The headline belongs to Syracuse, who upset the #3 Pitt Panthers for the biggest win of the season and secure the 11th seed